Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Real Well Radio. I'm here with Luis Vega from Superhome. Appreciate it, brother.
Hey man, thanks for having me.
Thanks
Appreciate
for coming
it.
in.
It's exciting.
So I've been seeing stuff on social media from Luis. As I said yesterday, like my smart Superhome is my Ring doorbell and my Rottweiler. So,
Right.
like this kind of stuff really is intriguing to me, and I know you do it on a very high level. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to, present it.
Yeah.
Before we dive into like all the nitty gritty of that, like let's give everybody like a backstory from like where you came from and stuff like that.
Sure. So I'm from Philly, born and raised in Philly.
Awesome.
Went to all the Philly schools. I used to go to Franklin Learning Center for high school, and I actually studied technology there. So like tech is like in my bones from a long time ago. I was always doing the nerdy stuff in high school, the computer programming stuff. Kind of fast forward, I worked in IT for Janney Montgomery Scott, which was in Center City for its investment firm. I've worked for major hospitals in the city, municipalities. I used to work for the gas company as well. So I've done a lot of technology throughout my kind of my career. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So what made you get into the smart home security? Like how did you transition from one to another?
Yeah. So it's like mainly IT. I've been doing a lot of IT stuff, but going into smart home technology, I actually started with my house.
Okay.
Decided, hey, let's add a couple of smart locks here and there, and we start adding some lighting, and then my wife would give me something for my birthday, and like, oh, we got you a couple lights here, and then my house started turning into kind of like an Inspector Gadget type of situation, And
So hold on real quick, like smart lock, like
yeah,
an app.
For sure.
Lock, unlock, and okay.
For sure. Codes, app unlock, remote lock, tells you if it's open or closed.
Mm-hmm.
Forget to lock the door, you can do it remotely.
Cool.
And then we start adding the light control, which is a really big one. So the light control.
Clapper?
Well, and the new version of the clapper, where now you're like talking to like Siri and and Alexa and stuff and doing it. So, but yeah, basically that, and it started with that, kind of doing my home, and then friends and family. You know how it goes, and then it kind of just evolves from there.
So at what point in time was your house being transformed into a smart home?
Yeah, wow, this is probably 8 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, we started, and then little by little you start adding more things. I'm an Apple guy, so I ended up standardizing on Apple's platform and kind of building it out from there. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it, and a lot of different platforms you can use, and that's kind of what I do. Is I kind of help people figure out what kind of platform and what what environment to kind of build in their house so that they can control their home.
So tell us the difference between, like, in your mind, it's probably different than say mine, since I don't really have much of this stuff. But like, what is the perfect version of a smart residential home, and what is the perfect version of a smart commercial property?
Yeah, so a smart residential home would start with like 3 components. And one of those main components could be access, like you said. Smart lock was usually a good one. Then we kind of move into other things like maybe smart thermostat. Heating and cooling is a big one because not just for the convenience of being able to change it, but it actually affects your bill. You're actually saving money because you have a thermostat that knows when you're home and when you're not home. And so it's automatically adjusting the heating and cooling to save you, energy.
I can imagine that on second homes or vacation homes and properties like that.
Even more.
They're huge, right?
Yeah, even more savings there. And I would say like the third component would be like a camera system is probably a big one. Especially today, stuff's crazy, and especially in the city of Philadelphia, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, and people just want to feel safe. So the cameras is a really good one. You can take it again from lighting, as I mentioned earlier. The lighting's another big one. You don't actually realize how much light impacts your mood, your productivity in the day. Mm-hmm. Very important. So something where you can kind of change and the home adjusts throughout the day is really nice. And then you can go down the rabbit hole from there. Garage door opener, irrigation gate systems, water sensors, you name it. Alarm. Just your home alarm. Of course, that's pretty standard. I think people have a lot of kind of experience with that. But it's just come a long way since then.
Yeah.
Since your ADT, your Sloman Shield or whatever, right? You have your traditional alarm systems. Now these systems not only do the alarm, but they also integrate into your home. And so now you can control multiple components, not just the home. So on the residential side, that's really where we see a lot of it. Now on the commercial side, we're seeing more surveillance and access. So building access where you can buzz people in. and do it from your phone. Issue digital passes so people can actually access a building remotely, but
Gotcha.
only between certain times of the day.
Right.
So on the commercial side, we see more of that. It's more of access control for not only commercial buildings but also apartment buildings, which we're doing a lot of, and surveillance because people want to feel like they're secure. So
Okay.
yeah, so those are the two worlds.
That's awesome stuff. And you also had mentioned, I'm in real estate.
Yep.
Property flippers, and while they're doing renovations, a huge problem is theft of materials
Yes.
and that kind of thing.
Yep.
So how are you helping, home flippers or whatever builders with that?
Yeah, and the investor community has been a big part of our business. We actually have cameras, job site cameras, that we can do for both construction sites, large and small, that don't require any power on site and that don't require any Wi-Fi on site. Solar, cellular, and many other technologies that go into that.
Cellular?
Yes, absolutely.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So there's multiple components, especially some of the more complex systems. We're doing a giant site in North Carolina right now. You've probably seen them like in the Home Depots where you see them with the big solar panels and the cameras are on the pole.
Yeah.
And they're like, yep, similar to that. So we can use that for job sites.
Right.
And it's watching the site. It's like having a security guard at all times on site, which is pretty cool.
Shooting to someone's cell phone or...
Yeah.
Do you do monitoring? Do you have
It's tied into police and everything, yeah.
Holy smokes.
So it's imagine like having a security guard that's driving around in a car and catching somebody and then, either trying to do it themselves or they call police. The system is really monitoring and uses AI, right? Everything's AI nowadays.
Yeah.
So the system uses AI and it says, okay, this person's not supposed to be here. They're definitely trespassing. It goes to a monitoring center. They review it. And if they're trying to get over a gate or something, they call the police. So it really can get complex and sophisticated. And this is just saving people tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost materials.
Yeah.
And just, by having a record, you're able to at least provide evidence to the insurance company. Like, hey, we had a theft on site. Here's proof,
At the least, the best case scenario would be catch them in the act.
And catching them and deterring them. Yeah.
What is like the process? Like how long is the process of someone, of AI noticing someone's probably trespassing,
Yep.
it going to monitoring or whatever, and then the police being on site? I know it probably varies.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the AI is, instant. So as soon as it comes into view, our analytics is, trying to determine what kind of person this is, or is it a vehicle or whatever it is. And so that happens within seconds. And then within that first minute, if it determines somebody's on site and they're not supposed to be, it's going to send it to the dispatch center for review. Because it's like, hey, somebody's actively trespassing here. And then from that point, they will review it and then they'll send the police if need be. But a lot of these systems, they also have like horns on them, which can play a sound like, hey, you're trespassing, please leave the area.
I saw some clips of that
Yeah,
stuff.
oh, definitely, man. And that is sometimes more than enough to say, to get people moving. But if not, then we can get to the monitoring station and all that stuff afterwards. So it gets pretty cool.
You probably have some pretty funny videos of...
There's some crazy stuff out there, man. There's some crazy stuff. Sometimes it's just like, a fox running across and it's capturing that stuff. But you definitely have people deterred from stealing. And on large sites, we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment. So definitely helpful. On the small scale side, we have self-monitored solutions as well. So if you don't need all that fancy stuff and you just want to keep eyes on it, but you still want some of that functionality, we do have temporary cameras that we rent for job sites. And then, when you're done your project, we just take them down.
None of these are hardwired. I mean, obviously the home security and stuff like that could be hardwired, but the job site stuff is probably not. Right?
Yeah, a lot of it's wireless, but we can do hardwired in certain circumstances depending on what the needs are.
And it's probably best to have hardwired stuff.
It's more reliable for
if
sure.
Possible.
Yeah, the systems are really good nowadays, the wireless ones. But if you really wanted to have like 24 around the clock, we can definitely get you full power and get you going.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool, and it's like by starting this, like I'm bringing people on, I'm learning things too. Like it's really cool stuff. So you've been doing this for a long time. It sounds very interesting. It's pretty intricate. You offer a lot of different solutions. What was the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome just to get to where you're at today? I'm sure that you have a grand vision for everything.
One of the biggest hurdles I think is, at least to start, and it's an ongoing thing. Trying to stay up on what's the latest, because technology changes fast. It's, every 18 to 24 months, technology doubles in its power, decreases in size. You get different technologies that are available now that can do more complex things in smaller packages. And so knowing what's out there is really the hardest part. And that's actually the biggest hurdle I find for homeowners when they're buying a home or when they want to put in a smart home system into their property. They have trouble finding out what to standardize on because there's so many different products by different brands. Let's be honest. 80% of the stuff you're going to find on Amazon or whatever is junk.
Right.
It's trash. So how do you filter out all of that garbage is coming from so many different places and narrow it down to high quality, high performing technology that's going to be something you can have in your home for years to come, and you're going to have a great experience. That is the number one thing that we focus on doing, is providing a great experience through vetted technologies that we know perform well at a high level so that you can get the best performance in your home. That's the number one thing.
I'd have to imagine that, client comes to you finding out what their exact laser focused goal is to provide them. So, because there's a ton of stuff to spend money on,
Definitely.
what I mean? But just what do they need to get accomplished, what they're looking to accomplish.
100%. And that's where we kind of go and we do a discovery, right? So we sit down and we work with homeowners, even during the building process. Right now, I'm in the process of, we just completed one big smart home in Croydon, PA. Beautiful, beautiful new construction home that we completed. Security cameras, alarm systems, Wi-Fi design, which is another one that people kind of leave out. That's like the first stage, really.
What's a Wi-Fi design?
So what we'll do is, we can do this either.
Oh, you mean so like it hits all the points of the house?
Yes,
cool.
Yes, and we design
That's important.
Yes, major. Especially if you're gonna have technology in the house, you need connectivity.
Right.
And so what we do is, especially during the construction, if you bring us in early, that's really what we want. We want you to bring us in early. Let us look at the plans. Let's work with your architect and your builder to design out where we're going to put our wireless access points. So if you're on your roof deck or you're in your yard and you want connectivity, you can get it. But if it has to be retrofit, we can do that too. There's a lot of options out there. So we kind of help to design out not only the Wi-Fi infrastructure and the network infrastructure, so that if you work from home, you're going to have great speeds all the time. But then moving into the technology piece, finding all the components that you need for your home, whether that be shades, whether that be lighting, locks, thermostats, we will figure it out and design a custom package just for you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So one thing that's really huge for me, being in real estate, being an entrepreneur, is my wellness. And that's part of like what I'm going to be asking every single entrepreneur I bring on here. It's a very stressful position to be in.
Yeah.
Everything's on your shoulders. You basically wake up unemployed every day.
Yep.
What are things that you do, daily habits that you've implemented, meditation, gym, podcast, whatever? Tell the people what you do so we can maybe steal some of it.
Yeah, so on the wellness side, like I try to eat as healthy as possible because I find that helps me to keep going throughout the day. I have a 10-month-old baby, so the gym time right now hasn't been exactly like I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say I do a lot of reading and like self-help type stuff.
Yeah.
That helps me keep me in a great mindset because I find that, as you mentioned, this is almost impossible sometimes. Being an entrepreneur, having your own business, you eat what you kill, and you have to really keep your head on straight. Otherwise, you can really lose it fast and give up. And me always constantly, kind of going through podcasts and books and just, networking with other people like yourself who know what it takes, like mentally, to put yourself in a state where you're going to go out and get it every day. That has really been a key to my longevity thus far and being able to maintain, because like you said, it's very difficult. It's very stressful. And so, and then having, supportive, my wife is extremely supportive, family and friends, that's always great to have. But I definitely want to do a little bit more on the exercise. I definitely want to fit a little bit more. Meditation is definitely something I need to incorporate as well. But I do spend just, again, a lot of my time is just like self-help and kind of reading. That helps me to kind of keep me grounded and keep me going.
Cool. It can definitely be a roller coaster. And, for me, I find while I don't enjoy the highs as much because I try to stay in the middle, when there are the lows, like I'm not crushing myself, talking shit on myself, having bad self-talk.
Yep.
So I just try to stay here.
Yep.
That's all. You know what I mean?
That's a good place.
And that helps the people around you, too, to kind of say, wow, things are really going horrible right now, and he's not losing his mind. but also, like when the times are great, like it all balances out. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
it's funny because like, sometimes you don't want to pat yourself on the back, and you have trouble doing that because you're like, well, the job's not done. Every day I got to create something new. I got to go out and get it. But it is good sometimes to like just sit and say, you know what, that was great. Like I killed that. I went out. I set my goal to do this, this, and this, and ended up coming true. I'm excited about it, and I know that this is going to lead me into the next stage, and then kind of coming back down to the center and saying, all right, we're going to keep working. So I really love that, actually. That kind of like, let me just stay in the center because it keeps me grounded from the lows and the highs too much. And you're able to kind of focus in on the next thing.
It's like one of the problems that I have is celebrating the wins.
Yeah.
Because I know there's going to be a problem coming up. That's like how my brain works. Like I'm not a negative person, but I'm constantly thinking about what can go wrong. So I'm ready for if that goes wrong.
Yeah.
And it comes off like I'm negative sometimes, but I'm not. I'm optimistic, but I'm always, trying to put myself in the best position to handle anything that goes wrong. That's all.
Yeah, and you're being real about what's going to come your way, because if you're too like delusional about
Exactly.
you can't be delusional about everything going great, and then when things happen, you're like, you got to be kidding me. It's like, well, no, things are going to happen.
This happens all the time.
Yeah.
We should have seen this coming.
100%. No, I'm with you 100%, man. And in my business too, I mean, things go wrong, and I just work super hard to just resolve as quick as possible, man. Because the customer experience is very important to me, very important. You ask anybody that's ever worked with me, they know that I'm very focused on the customer experience, because I want everybody to have a great experience, especially in their home. We have a tagline. It says, "Don't just live in your home, experience it." We don't want you to just come home and just put down your keys and it's just a place where you lay your head or where you go to eat. We want you to come home and have an experience. The home should come alive when you get there. The lighting, the music, the sounds, everything, the comfort level, and everything should happen when you get there and be ready for you and to welcome you. So that's the kind of environment we want to create.
Cool. Usually at this time, what I'll ask is if you have any advice for someone getting started. Well, I want to phrase it this way. I want to say, if you could talk to yourself in the past, just getting started in this process, like what are one or two things that you would have wished you would have known at that time?
That's a good question, man. I feel like if I were to tell my younger self, it would have just been to double down a little sooner. Look, I went to college, got a degree, I got great jobs, got married, have a kid now. Like I feel like in a lot of ways I checked a lot of the boxes that people want you to check. But I think I also spent too much time trying to look for. I've always done business, but I've also had 9-to-5 jobs, and so I feel like early on I spent more time thinking about the 9-to-5 job and where I could kind of build on that for quote unquote stability.
Yep.
And what I was ended up doing was kind of putting a cap on myself in a way, because I've already surpassed in my own business what I'd made at my 9-to-5 jobs by a long shot. So what I would tell myself back then is to have focused on what you're capable of doing, which is generating and creating something and creating, following your goals for an idea that you have that you want to bring to fruition as a business. That's what I probably would have told myself. Hey, believe in that. You already were doing it. I was always doing business of some kind. I used to have a video production company. We did a lot of multimedia stuff, but I always did it part-time. I always did it kind of halfway, and that's what I would have told myself. Go in all on that one thing because you know that you can do it. So
that's good stuff. It's like part of the reason why I built this podcast was to. There's nothing wrong with having a W-2, punch the clock, like the stability and all that stuff's great. But for anybody who did take the leap, like I wanted to build a platform that they can promote themselves, and I can, we can do some B2B, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I think it's so fucking awesome when people do that.
It is, man.
Because it's a huge risk.
Huge.
Like I'm sure every business, I know every business is the way, but as far as real estate goes, like 85% of the people are out of the business within 2 years.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So every business, there's a high failure rate, but especially in mine. So like when I did that, like I have kids, I have a wife, I have bills, I have all these things. So like when I decided to really just go all in and go full time, it was during COVID, so there was kind of a safety net because we were getting that bullshit, whatever from the government
here
and there.
Yep.
But it was like, all right, chips in, like, let's just do this and make it happen. And, you know, I have a hard time doing it, but,
Right.
you know, so like you were just saying, and that was the next question I was getting to is if it's hard for us to pat ourselves in the back.
Right.
What's one thing you'd like to tell everybody you're proud of yourself about?
Yeah. That I don't give up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't give up, and most people do give up at some point because it does get so hard. You start thinking about all the pressures that you have. You're trying to maintain your lifestyle, provide for your family, pay all your bills, still have a personal life, still have your health and wellness. You're trying to
Not lose your mind.
not lose your mind and go crazy. That's a lot. And then not knowing what your bank account's going to look like in 6 months.
Right. And it's like this.
Yeah.
You know?
It's an ebb and flow. You're going to have ups and downs. Some days you're going to be like, man, I just killed it this month. And other months you're like, what's going on? Do we got to cut Netflix or what? Because
Is Wi-Fi done?
yeah, honey, is it working? Right? It's the reality. It's the
Yeah.
reality. And it is scary sometimes. But, you know, there's some times where I'm like, yeah, but I get to today, I decided, you know, we're going to hang out. We're going to talk business. We're going to talk about technology and real estate. And I made that decision. I didn't have to ask for any permission to do that.
That's it.
That was a
is
big
it.
one for me.
Being able to do what you want when you want to do it. Like, part of the time of owning your own business is you get to make your own hours.
Right.
But, you know, like the time piece of being able to be a little flexible at
Yes,
least, it's huge. Like, you don't have to call the boss to schedule vacations.
Big one. And just to do stuff with my family now too, with my daughter. Like,
Yes.
if I want to spend time with my daughter and take my wife out to brunch or, you know, and hang out or go for a walk in the park or something like that, I don't have to ask for permission. Now, do I work much harder than I was working before?
Right.
Definitely. But I'm happy to do that because not only am I able to kind of build my life the way I want to, but I don't have a cap. You know, like in my brain, there's no cap to what I can do, to how much I can earn, to what I can produce for myself or my family. But when you have a 9-to-5 job, you obviously are only capped by where you are at that time. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, and it's really great for a lot of people to have that. But for me, I knew that I just don't. I have this don't give up mentality, so I needed to bet on myself. So that's what I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned to me that you wanted to talk about a little bit about what realtors should be looking for while touring a home. And I was interested in hearing about that.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm being recorded sometimes, and I'm probably talking shit on the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, probably. Yeah. So what should some real estate agents or realtors look for when they're going through a house? Well, today you mentioned the Ring doorbell is a big one. Ring is okay. Like we're not like a big Ring doorbell hater, but I think there are some other options out there, some other better options out there. But looking for certain components like that, like do they have cameras on the outside? That's easy. You're going to walk up to the property anyway. So when you walk up, just look at the exteriors. What is on the outside? Okay, looks like they have an outdoor camera here. It looks like they have a video doorbell. The reason why that's important is because people buying a home today, they're working from home or whatever. Amazon is dropping off packages every 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, lost packages, package theft, that's a big thing. So just take a look at the outside and see if there's some cameras. That's always a big plus. When you walk in, look to see if there's any kind of alarm system. You think, okay, the previous owner had, vector security in their property before, and you think it's not going to translate to the new homeowner. And a lot of times, those systems can be taken over or upgraded very easily. So now you have an opportunity where somebody can really turn their house into a smart home just literally the next day. So that's kind of a big one. And then just generally just looking to see if there's any kind of technology, like if you see any sensors by the water heater, maybe you see like a puck or a circular device that's sitting by the washer and dryer. That could be a water sensor, which is definitely a big thing. Water happens to create so much damage. So little things like that I think are cool. Touch keypad locks at the front door, the security cameras, the water sensors on the inside. All those things are big things to look for as a realtor as you're walking through the property.
It's good stuff. What do you see the future trends of home security being like with all the AI?
Yeah. So I think about this a lot, obviously, because I spend most of my time looking at the trends and where things are going. AI is a big one right now. I think what we're going to find is that the home is going to, this is what I was kind of alluding to earlier, the home is really going to come alive more. you're going to have a lot more granular control and data and information about the state of your house at any given time. We want to know that your door is locked, your garage is closed, the water is shut off, and it's not leaking. You don't have like a leak somewhere. That your lights are off, that your temperature is at the right temperature for the home, and you're not wasting energy. You're going to be able to get a lot of this information a lot quicker and easier. And that's where I see, a lot of it's going to be voice, but then a lot of it's just going to be natural, where there's a lot of input today. I have to go on my phone and, check my cameras or unlock my door. A lot of the stuff is going to just be naturally occurring. It's going to happen based on the time of day. It's going to learn your patterns. I come home at this time every day. I can unlock the door. I'm going to open the garage door for him this time. So there's going to be a lot of automation that happens more and more as some of these AI tools and these algorithms get a little bit more complex, because at the base of it, these alarm systems do have a kind of algorithms and the machine learning, if you will, and it's learning the patterns of the home to make it more, of a better experience when you do arrive. So that's where I see a lot of this going. It's going to be pretty interesting.
It's pretty cool. Last episode I just did was with Frank. He's a fitness coach, and we were talking about tracking everything about the body, and you're talking about keeping track of everything within inside the home.
Yeah.
It's all very interesting.
I mean, the data crunching that's happening behind the scenes. I mean, our phones today are capable of processing so much information that it's mind blowing. I mean, you can edit an entire podcast like this all on your phone,
Right.
and so the data points. That's what I think. What he's talking about, tracking the body and all that stuff. All of those are data points. All of that is just software and algorithms and learning of patterns, and a lot of that is going to just come to the surface, making it very easy for you to view. And I think the home is going to be just like that. It's already started today.
It's very interesting. Tell everybody how to get in touch with you.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you again for your time and your platform here. If you guys want to learn more about home technology, wow, that was cool.
About that. We're back.
We're back.
Lights went out.
All right. So yeah. If you guys want to get in contact with me, if you have any new homeowners that are looking for smart technology at their properties, anybody who's buying a home today, we have great promotions for them today. If you have an investment property, you're looking for job site security, there's a lot of different ways that we can help you. You can go to yoursuperhome.com, yoursuperhome.com, and everything's there. You can contact me there. You can book a call with us. You can build a system and let me know kind of what you're interested in doing. And we'd be happy to help you. We're excited to bring new technologies to Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. So please don't hesitate to reach out. You can also shoot me a text if you'd like, 215-469-1387. Again, my name is Luis Vega from Superhome, yoursuperhome.com.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks so much, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks
again.
That's funny.
It's all good.
The last time, the credit guy that I had on last, so you see how it says end recording?
Yeah.